While we say goodbye to Roger and get ready to welcome our next guest, I want to remind you, you are watching Money TV, and if you'd like more information about our guest companies, our toll-free number is 888-259-4449. If you've just joined us, like to watch this or even our previous programs up to a year back, you can go to our website, MoneyTV.net. And I guess we're ready. I've got Matt Chipman in the booth with me now. Matt Chipman, of course, is the editor-in-chief of the Green Baron Report. Matt, always good to see you.
Great to be here, Don.
You know, Matt, since you and I were last together on the show, you just have to think that we've seen some kind of bottom occur in the markets. I mean, I think the last time you were here, we were flirting around 66, 6,500 in the Dow, and, you know, we've seen that increase now by 25% in a few short weeks, and it seems to be casually hanging around that 8,000 number.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a huge run off the bottom. I mean, that was a really nice rally. What were we doing? 6-7 weeks where we were up pretty good. It hit a point where people were wondering, is it going to continue? Are we ready for a little pullback? What's happening is here now is the banks are coming out with their earnings reports, and we don't know whether they're quite cooking the books or whether they're completely being honest. Now, the mark-to-market change had something to do with that, but some of the banks, everybody's kind of run to the banks that are the so-called good banks that are going to stick around. You saw Wells Fargo come out with good numbers. You saw some of the other banks that have come out with huge profits. But the thing is, they are making a lot of money. People have to go somewhere. Rates are at 0%. There's a big profit margin in that when you loan money, and the government's helping them get along, and we're hoping that sticks around.
There's been some speculation that has popped up, financial media, financial pundits, that perhaps the recession was not nearly as bad as we were led to believe it was, and the reason we were led to believe that it was that bad is so that Congress could push through every spending program that it could ever think of. I mean, it came out that when these stimulus bills were voted on by members of Congress, most hadn't even read it. Just voted for it. I mean, what's your take on that?
Very possible. I mean, look, it was an election year last year. The media seems to really be gearing around and supporting America, growth, the president's agenda. I think I'm glad to see it because I want to see America do well. I want to see us come back. What I've seen recently now also is a return of some of the smaller investors. People aren't afraid to buy some of these smaller stocks now because a lot of them have been beaten up into oblivion. So now instead of everybody buying these stocks that are $30, $40, $50 that may be overpriced, they're now looking at stocks that are trading at 30, 40, 50 cents or $3, $4, $5. It's nice to see. It's great for my business because we're finally seeing activity come into these stocks.
Well, you're absolutely right, because let's face it, if you were sitting on United Technologies in October of 2007 at $72, and now UTX is sitting around 44, 48, it's going to take a lot of action to get that thing back to the $72 figure. However, if you had an investment in, say, 10 small cap stocks, as you mentioned, that are trading 40 or 50 cents, only 2 or 3 of those 10 really have to make some kind of move for you to be okay.
Well, and there's a whole new index that's been developed, this biofuels index. Some of these other companies that convert algae to energy. All those solar companies. There are so many ways where there's a new list of companies that are going to be the big companies out there, and we follow some of those. So that's the area I like to be in.
You have to think that green here in the 21st century is to the market what the internet was in the middle to late 90s. Matt, for people who want to get a hold of you, learn more about, and coincidentally, the Green Baron Report, how do they do that?
They just go to thegreenbaron.com and click any join icon. We have a new pick coming out on Monday. And that's this Monday, April 27th. So it's one that I really want to show people and impress people with. And I think when you see that pick and see what it does, people will be impressed.
The Green Baron Report, again, his website is thegreenbaron.com. Matt, your discussion and insight always valuable. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on, Don.